Hello, everyone. This is Healing Wednesday and the Circle of 12. I am Lee Carroll.
And I'm Monica Morani.
Now, for those of you who don't know, and perhaps have just tuned in, every Wednesday evening of the year, we come together with special guests, questions and answers, discussions, meditation, and channeling. Well, this is our once-a-month free program, so YouTube subscribers, thank you for being here. I welcome you. Also, welcome to all of you who are joining us for the first time. You know, when we look at our diagnostics of who's joining us and all, we know that there are a lot of first-timers. So our diagnostics show that you're here, and so welcome to many of you.
And a special welcome to the members of the Circle of 12 who receive one of these programs every single week of the year. If you're not a member but follow the Circle of 12 on YouTube, this is your 25th program. Woohoo! 25. I love that magical number. But if you are a member, this is program number 97. And you can find all of the others that you missed from the beginning of this series with a subscription from cryonmasters.com. And this will give you access to the weekly program. All members receive this healing program that we've done, every single one. And so by now they have 97 episodes that they can watch. And the library is building all the time. In addition, the members receive many special extras, including a full index of all the programs.
And of course, there's the YouTube library, and it's also growing and growing. And this library will never expire. You can watch these programs as long as you wish. So, YouTube subscribers, please take a look at some of these great programs from the past and some of the wonderful guests, and you may not know about them. Well, of course, it goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. I always do. Every time we do a free program on YouTube, I say, please click the subscribe button and be a regular part of this profound and free experience. Monica and I have been working on something now for months, but until now, it's been a secret, and we've not mentioned it at all on the free YouTube Wednesdays. We wanted to let you know about it. We are starting a Kryon online school to teach many of the things that we used to feature during our weekly conferences all over the world, which we are no longer doing. And in addition, we're actually able to go even deeper, and some of the more profound esoteric concepts are now available that it was impossible during a seminar.
And since 2020, the way that Lee is presenting the Kryon work has completely changed. Instead of traveling to live events every single weekend, and then we would present overseas in places like South America, Australia, New Zealand, and Europe, synchronicity has led to the creation of this amazing Kryon studio. And I must say, Lee just loves it. It really serves his geek nerd self that just thrives in this studio environment. However, there's more to it than just him loving the nerd self of him thriving. Healing Wednesday is possible because of this new normal that's been birthed. And there's so many subjects from Kryon that Lee simply ceased teaching when we stopped that enormous amount of traveling that we did. But now, because of the studio, we have this amazing opportunity to continue teaching these things online, and we can actually develop them into this incredibly in-depth level and deliver them to you in a very intimate way. And that just would not have been possible during our live weekend seminars. As Lee mentioned, we're creating a Kryon online school, and the school is called Chrysalis Academy, named for the well-known transformation of a caterpillar to a butterfly.
Now, the very first course Monica and I are going to teach together is about core spiritual truths. It represents some of the most powerful and profound sacred information which was first taught to humanity from those who gave us our spiritual DNA. On the big island of Hawaii in 2017, something really amazing happened to me. Kryon in Channel revealed how the grand truths of God were taught in Lemuria, ancient Lemuria. I've been waiting for over 5 years to teach this subject in a way that it was meant to be taught. And finally, the syllabus is pouring into my life for the construction and the teaching of this information. Now, some of you may have actually heard of it if you followed Kryon, and it's called the Lemurian Teaching Wheel. The Lemurian Teaching Wheel. This is something we have endeavored to teach since 2017 a few times in special conferences in the past 5 years. But Kryon never gave me any added information beyond that was given in 2017, and I knew there was more. So we stopped teaching it, and I waited. In these lessons, there's a great deal of information about the core truths that now have been revealed, about the Creator, and how the concepts were actually taught. These are beautiful truths that I wish I had learned in church, or at least had been offered when I was a younger man by somebody who knew them and would give them to me. In order to correctly actually convey these wonderful sacred truths and the compassion and the love and the wisdom of how the Star Mothers taught, I get excited when I think about what is now available and what's going to happen. It's going to take over 40 lessons to teach.
So together, Lee and I are going to transport you back to Lemuria. We'll take you on a journey within the various spokes and concepts of the wheel, just as the children and young adults learned them as they sat at the feet of the Star Mother teacher. The Lemurian children and young adults, they actually studied these elements and concepts of the wheel for a period of about 12 years, and it gave them this incredible advanced conceptual awareness of their multidimensionality. Without question, they knew they were part of the Creator, and therefore they were eternal. Through Lee's new information from Kryon, you'll be privy, like a fly on the wall, to the conversations that took place between the Star Mothers and their students. These teachers from the stars used masterful psychology to help the young students understand very high spiritual concepts and be taught the magnificence of their existence. The Lemurian Teaching Wheel Masterclass series will be offered soon, and if you are a subscriber to the YouTube channel, you'll be informed. So now we'd like to move into another part of the program that we've recently started doing, and it's deciphering the messages from Kryon. What do I mean by that? Well, Kryon often speaks in metaphors, and so we thought it'd be a great idea if we could start pulling out some of the phrases from Kryon and have Lee tell us what the meaning is behind the metaphor. And so the first saying that I'd like to do that with is this: the age of compassion is coming. It will rewrite and reframe all which humans think about and react to. I'm going to say that one more time. The age of compassion is coming. It will rewrite and reframe all which humans think about and react to. I love that phrase. And Lee, can you tell us more about the meanings behind it?
This is always fun for me to try to explain what Kryon has said in one statement, because it has such an impactful background leading up to it. This statement is really a statement from Kryon about our future, and one that's not actually that far away. Since 2012, Kryon has been speaking about one main future prediction for all of us, and that prediction is about a major but slow change of overall consciousness on the entire planet. Now, just to be clear, it's not a new spiritual consciousness. It's not a prediction about a coming ascension or anything religious like perhaps some of you were taught. This prediction is about humanity and all of humanity, about what it actually wants, and most of all, new ways of seeing one another. It's about a very slow manifestation of kindness and compassion on the planet, which will result in new ways we do just about everything. Here's something else. It's not yet here. It's not here, but it's starting. It's starting. My teaching and Kryon's recent channeling have given a great deal of current events evidence on that very thing. Now, I'm not going to take you back through all that right now, but what's actually important to us now and what we are expecting of our governments, that's what's important, what we're expecting of our governments and our institution, all of that is starting to change. Now, they're not changing. It's our expectation of what we want from them that is changing, if you've noticed. There will come a time when we simply won't elect leaders who lead with bravado or anger toward others or toward themselves. We'll look for compassionate leadership. It'll show, since the old energy will really start to slap you in the face where it never did before. This age of compassion is also about awareness. An old energy planet didn't react to unkindness or lack of compassion. In fact, it was actually expected. Now, there's a very slow awareness involved in recognizing the old ways and rejecting them. This has so many facets, and really it's a big subject, but it's everywhere, even in small things. Are you beginning to recognize fear-based reporting of any kind, anywhere? It's on commercials, it's on the news, it's even in new age podcasts, folks. It's a way of getting attention, a very old way of getting memberships and subscribers, on and on. It still works. Have you seen it? Does it suit you? Or would you rather have uplifting communication instead? Believe it or not, there are actually very good ways of reporting current events without scaring everyone in the process. Believe it or not. When this compassionate change happens, you'll be attracted to it. I am already. I think many of you are, and you look for it. That's just one thing. How many people want war? Raise your hand. We now finally are beginning to understand that we don't have to have a full-on global war. We can disagree and we can work it out. All of the old predictions told us that we had to have one. Did you notice? And even to expect one. That's just part of, what I was taught. This very expectation is starting to change, and we are now seeing the prophecies of our planet's indigenous that always told us that this choice right now was always available. Wow, these are the attitudes that will change, and this is what is coming. Investing in peace instead of war is just one big item, but it's a big one. Did you see how this is empowering us? Did you see how this is an empowering prediction for us? It's not here yet, folks. It's slow. Many are already feeling it.
I love that we're feeling it, and we do have a bright future. That's the take-home message I want all of you to get from that explanation. So we want to do one more phrase from Kryon, and it's this. Gaia is in service to humanity and changes itself as your consciousness changes. I want to read that one more time because I love the expression. Gaia is in service to humanity and changes itself as your consciousness changes. What's the explanation behind that message, Lee?
Well, this is controversial only because of what we've been taught over and over about the planet and the environmental changes that are going on. Listen, we all want to be green, and we all want to stop anything that hurts our beautiful planet. It really doesn't have to do with that. But how many of us have got the message that Gaia is our partner and can actually change with our consciousness? That one wasn't given to us. That was given to us by the indigenous, which we pretty well ignored. In other words, it may actually reveal, if that's true, how we can have better help from the planet to clean it up. It also, at the same time, we can obtain what we need, working together. Now, that is a new concept for most of us. Do you remember being told that perhaps there is sentience in Gaia? Sentience. Now let's stop and define that word so everybody knows what we're talking about, and it may surprise you. Sentience is, quote, the ability to sense and feel things. Is our planet an it or a who? Wow. Now let's stop again. Let's examine what the indigenous of the planet have told us. Just about all of them. No matter where they are on the planet, they didn't even know each other. They're giving us a very similar message, that Gaia is alive. Question, when food, rain, or direction is needed from Gaia for them, is there a process? And did it work? They'll smile and say, Gaia, the consciousness of the planet, is our partner to all that is life here and that all that exists here. Are you aware that many scientists and biologists believe that the cures to many of our current diseases are already here? Where are they? They lie in the forests, in the herbs, and even within the insects and the animals that we don't study much for that purpose. They're in the oceans, within the life that we also don't study much for that purpose. Without the designed chemistry that we depend on, I wonder if we can go to perhaps natural cures that have been there all along. That is a new paradigm. But it's all part of the life force of Gaia that is our partner. Gaia, that's the expression many of us use for our beautiful planet, has a type of consciousness of its own. It knows us. There's so much evidence that it changes for us and works with us. After all, it feeds us, it clothes us, it gives us oxygen, and all of that is theirs. I wonder, is that just a big coincidence of nature? Or are we partners? Is photosynthesis a random accident of evolution? Photosynthesis, by the way, is the reason they're here. Or is it a plan? In addition, geologists show us that the past is filled with constant giant upheavals of our planet. Nobody could exist with that. But today we have a very quiet Earth. We couldn't live without that. Could it be that the indigenous were correct? We can actually communicate with Gaia. If so, how? Now, for me, and what Kryon tells us, is with love and respect for all life and an acknowledgement of the life force of Gaia, the sentience of Gaia. And what comes back in return is something unexpected. Rain, when there wasn't any predicted. Reductions in wind force when it wasn't really predicted. Crops that grow far better when a high consciousness is involved. It goes on, back to the indigenous. Consciousness is the key to changing physics. That has been proven, folks. Consciousness is energy. Our Earth is far more alive than anyone knows. There are multi-dimensions even with the rocks, according to Kryon. That's kind of spooky. Want to know more? Me too. But the first step is to start to understand and be aware that perhaps, just perhaps, we never got the truth about something very, very important that can change how we see things around us. Gaia, our partner on this planet, knows we are here and works in many ways to help us. Let's help her in any way we can.
Let us now move into a meditation where we can give our gratitude and thanks to Gaia. I invite you to close your eyes and focus on a water body near you. It could be the ocean, it could be the sea, it could be a river, a lake, a stream. It may even be a glass of water in front of you. We know consciousness can change the water molecules. And so let us send gratitude and thanks to Gaia and the water she provides us. Thank you, Gaia, for the beautiful endless supply of water that you give to us. We honor your existence. We give deep thanks and gratitude. And it's as simple as those words. And Gaia hears the message. And now, let us continue to hear the message from Kryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. It seems as though the subject of today is about things that perhaps you can reframe in your mind, that perhaps were not given to you fully. There is so much hiding because it hasn't been exposed yet, or you haven't been aware of it, and yet it's always been there. Like the child who grows up breathing air and then one day he studies what it is. He took it for granted and nobody told him about the molecules in the air, where they came from, and the symbiotic relationship with the rest of the planet. It was just air, he breathed it. There are many things like this. I'm going to give you a metaphor today, and it's one that some of you, most of you, will understand and have seen. You'll understand also as we go what the metaphor eventually is about and what it means. We have done the circle of 12. We're going to do it again today. And what this circle of 12 actually is about is you discovering the bigger you. Even religious leaders, spiritualists, have put God on one side of the veil and you on the other. And there are all kinds of processes that somehow then allow you to touch that face of God in some way that is not here. It's across the veil. And the circle of 12 is one of the first times I have given you a metaphor that continues, that tries to show you that actually it's right in front of you. That veil is actually the bridge between you and the bigger you, your soul. Now, some will say, well, what does that have to do with the veil between us and God? And I'll tell you, your soul is part of the creative source, a major part. If you can touch that which is your soul, you are in that space that mostly is on the other side of the veil. A multi-dimensional space where, like angels and guides and the love of spirit is right next to you all the time. And we've given you this example over and over and over. That really, truly, spirit sits on your lap. But that hasn't been the paradigm, has it? Let me show you something. I want you to visualize with me something that most of you have seen. That visualization would have a number of nested boxes. Now, sometimes you will see this, depending on your culture, in decorative boxes that are nested, one smaller, one smaller. You open one, there's another one, it's smaller. Open one, there's another one. Sometimes it's with eggs that are made and manufactured. One egg is big, you go and open it, it is smaller, 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 and they're all decorative and they're all beautiful. So visualize that for a moment because you've seen it. When you get to the smallest one, it's cute. It's fun. Wow, I went through 10 of those to get to this cute little guy. I wonder if he knew he was really in there, if you could talk. So here is the first part of this metaphor. The little box, the littlest one, nested in there, all put together with all of them assembled. That little one is you. You have no awareness of the box around you. It's in the dark, of course. And if somebody told you there was a bigger box you were in, you'd go, I'm not really sure. I'm not sure that you're right. But if there is, it's the veil and God is on the other side. Well, then they say, well, not exactly. There's a bigger box around that. What could that mean? These nested boxes are an awareness. They are boxes of awareness. And we have told you all along that the biggest one, the one that God sees, the one that I see, is the real you. The little one is the nested you. And here's the invitation, and it was always there. We want you to understand that as you start to accept what I am telling you, perhaps instead of what others have told you is the limit of your spirituality or your thinking, is simply surrounded by another box. We have talked about peeling the onion of your reality, where you start to peel it and find the core you. This is the opposite. I'm talking about release. How many of you are willing to say, Dear Spirit, if there is a bigger box that I'm in, show it to me. And that awareness alone starts to disappear the internal boxes. You might have 10 nested boxes and suddenly you've got 3 because you're so much aware of the love of God, of the tools that you have as a human being, that the energy of Gaia is alive and well, and that you actually are in control of your reality. You just dismissed 3 or 4 boxes. Now, what are those boxes? They're what you've been told. Every single one of them represents that which you have been told you are. It isn't just inaccurate, dear ones. Some of that was on purpose. Some of it was also the best that humans had at that moment. But it all told the story of a great big God and a very small you. That part was correct. But no connection. A wall between you. That's what you were taught. If you are involved, perhaps, and invested in in some of that which is the organized spiritual systems of the planet, that they will tell you right away, you're small. You're not supposed to be able to touch the face of God. You're not worthy. And so they have all manner of rules that will then help you be worthy, or at least come to God not filled with unworthiness. You start listing them. What do they ask you to do? What if I told you those are boxes? Those are boxes which keeps you from seeing the big one. And you start disappearing them and disappearing them. And you get to that place and you say, what if I could cross the bridge to the real big one? And that one is the soul. Now let me tell you something else about this metaphor, which is magic. As you start to then dissolve the boxes around you, you become the box around you. You get bigger. So a nested set of 10 becomes a nested set of 5. Because the box in the middle is starting to dissolve the boxes around it, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and now you've got perhaps just one. Welcome to the circle of 12. So if you followed this, here you are, a much bigger box, nested in one other. There's the soul of the human, which is the big one, and you, the one that's in 3 dimensions that you know well. But you're very close, and you can feel it. You've dismissed all the limiting things that you've been told, and here you are. Crossing that bridge is something we'll do today, and we do it every single Wednesday, and we've done it for almost 100 episodes. All the time, this has been the metaphor of you touching the bigger box. But more than touching it, what happens to you, and I'm going to paint you a picture. When you cross the bridge, that 3-dimensional box is dissolved temporarily. You have to live in 3D. That's who you are. But it doesn't mean that you can't meld with the bigger one or go there anytime you want. Crossing the bridge, going back and forth, finding out some of the most beautiful things that Spirit, the Creator, has for you. Basking in the love that has always been there, without rules, without things you have to do to deserve it. And you start to understand the real picture. The actual core truth is this: God is in love with you and created you in love, and has given you free choice to find that. Not a bunch of rules that say that you're not supposed to. Not a bunch of rules that say you're unworthy. Not a bunch of rules that say that you're doomed as you're born. That was never, ever the core truth. That's the humans making their truth apply to you. That's all human stuff, dear ones. That's humanism 101. Punishment, reward, bad, good. All of those things have nothing to do with the love of the Creator for you. So here you sit and stand, perhaps on the bridge. Perhaps you finally understand that bigger box is you in an alliance with the Creator, your soul. That is the truth. Anytime you want, the Creator has His hand outstretched saying, why don't you come to that bigger box for a while? Visit your soul for a while. And sooner or later, they meld together. So every day of your life, you're walking between and inside until they meld together. And that is called ascension. This is where you are right now. In the scheme of this planet, you might say in the planning that you set up a long time ago before you got here. What if this was all true? I want you to sit and feel that love I'm telling you about. Tonight, a little later, we'll go across the bridge. I'll take you there again. And so it is.
Yes. And so, if you're there, well, we could use the term for an example, enlightenment. I want to be enlightened. I'm not picking on anyone, but when your goal is to check out, we've got a challenge because you incarnated for a reason. You chose to be here. There are only 8 billion souls out of all of the worlds, in all of the known worlds and unknown worlds, that get to be here at this time. You chose to come here not so you could check out, but so that you can rock it. And so we need that combination of remembering who and what you are and how to play with energy, how to live on both sides, combined with being fully grounded so that you can move physicality. You can't use this pen, for instance, if you're floating up here. And so you need that combination.
I have an expression we've used before, and that is being so spiritual you're no earthly good. And that's kind of what you're talking about.
Bingo. That's, yes.
However, there is something else. Somebody would be listening and say, well, I'd love to be a modern mystic, and you say I am, but I'm also ultra-sensitive and I'm empathic, and I'd like to control that.
Well, an empath is a modern mystic. An empath is, we'll call it a mystic in latency. So an empath has incredible sensitivity. In fact, we're told too sensitive. And I'm considered too sensitive. My wife is considered 100 times more sensitive to me than me. That sensitivity is your super skill. That is what's going to help you to be a mystic, because you're seeing beyond the senses. You're feeling beyond the senses. You're going up next to somebody and going, "Ee," or you're going up next to somebody going, "Hello." And you're doing that with situations as well. In other words, you are completely and totally tapped in. All we need to do is, rather than push that back under the carpet, which this modern society tries to say, it wants you to toughen up. It wants you to be an island. It wants to numb you up in any number of ways, or at least fear base you up so that you numb up. Instead, we want to lean into your super skills. We want to lean into your sensitivity. We want to learn how to work with it. Then your light grows incredibly bright and you become a wayfarer for others. So I'm very specifically saying it. Empaths are the leaders of the future, are the ones holding the light. The ones who are pushed to the back of the room actually belong at the front. We just get to learn how to dial in the energies so that you're not overwhelmed by everyone and everything else.
I love that you just said what you said.
Yes.
How do they dial in the energies? Because I know there's people watching who are completely connecting with being an empath and identifying with it. So how do they dial in?
There are many techniques. That's why we have a school of mystics. There's a really fun one that I got to use 3 days ago at the veterinary clinic. And at the veterinary clinic, they brought in Rue, and they got concerned that he may have a respiratory infection. And because he's, I can't believe this, because they say that he's part of a food chain, they would then have to notify the state and see if they can ever let him go home with me.
Oh.
If you can imagine the sense of panic
Yes.
of bringing your youngster, I don't care what species they are,
Yes.
to the doc and being told you may never be able to get them back.
Yeah.
So what did I do? There is a ribbon or a flow of energy that's next to you at all times. It is, you can call this a river or a ribbon of peace. It's right to your right. It's only a few feet off, and I've got my eyes closed because I can feel it right now. What I had to do is get myself into a state of love so that I'm not in a state of panic, because if I'm in a state of panic in front of a very concerned veterinarian, chances are she's going to go into a state of panic. Two people in panic do not make good conversation, do not make good friends, and do not make good outcomes. So what I had to do, in a sense, close my eyes, step to my right, feel myself in this ribbon or river of peace and love. And that is the song of the universe. And that's a whole story to go into. But you're in this frequency of love. You're in this frequency of peace. And as an empath, you feel it so strongly and you can get in sync so much more easily. So I'm breathing into it and out through it. And into this ribbon. And out. And I basically, sort of like if a violinist is having a solo, all of the other people playing a fiddle in the symphony, all of their strings start to vibrate in harmony. As I go into that ribbon, I start to get in harmony. I feel at peace. That's the empath part coming through. And now the veterinarian is at peace. And the veterinarian tells me, don't worry, I'll make sure everything is all right. Because now I'm coming from that place of love and light. That shifted everything. All of us, that's just one tool. All of us have access to such an amazing array of frequencies and vibrations and feelings and emotions that we can tap into, particularly as empaths. Being energetically sensitive, we can plug in more easily. We can get in vibration, or you can call it in harmony or attunement with these frequencies. And then when you get into a place of, even when it's the freakiest, teakiest, that is the scariest moment I can recall in my life. We lost a twin earlier this year, but I could kind of see that coming. That was horrific and super crazy hard because we had to choose to let her go. But that wasn't as difficult as basically being concerned that your boy has been taken away from you and you will never see him again, because I had no preparation for that. If I hadn't been able to step into a field of energy greater than myself, I would have fallen apart in that moment.
And as you just said, two people in panic don't make good decisions. So we're like a tuning fork. And once we get ourselves into that vibration and frequency as the tuning fork, and this is where Kryon says that old souls carry more weight on the planet in terms of the light-dark ratio, we get ourselves in that frequency and everything shifts around us. That is the most exquisite example I have heard of changing the outcome just from going within.
And it's something that we've practiced. We call it different things, but definitely the same thing. And I found the more I do it, the easier it is to go there.
Bingo.
So it's like a muscle you exercise, getting out of fear. Wow, that is thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I know that happened pretty recently, as I recall. So it's just wonderful to have you right now with this great story. Yeah. We have interviewed other NDE people, and we've had some pretty famous NDE folks with books and all. Can you give me what you felt and what it was like for you? I know you were dead, you were dying, so it was probably not the greatest, but what was the feeling?
Two different feelings from the two different experiences. The first, I think Wayne Dyer used a term years ago called satori, moment of instant awakening or instant understanding. There was, as I came back, a completely different understanding of everything and everyone around me, and an incredible sense of bliss and happiness and joy. So I'm completely broken on a bike path. I'm bleeding out internally. The EMTs come to me and I'm like, and they all ask me the same thing. Did you hit your head? And I'm like, no. and then they keep talking to me and they go, can we get me to the hospital now? I'm really suffering. Because I was, you talk about the ultimate duality. I'm like totally blissed out and in the greatest pain of my life. So that was experience number one. Experience number two was in many ways more profound, but it required a big decision. I made a decision to come back. I made a decision. I had my wife by my side, and I had just told her, let's have kids, which is now 7 or 8 years ago. We had 3 miscarriages and blah, blah, blah since then. It took a little while. But I had to choose to come back. I was completely racked in pain. It took, I think it was an hour before the emergency crews got there, or maybe it was half an hour till they got there, half an hour till they helicoptered me out. My blood pressure had fallen to 0. And what I had to do to stay alive was, it was a Lake Tahoe sun above me. It was so incredibly bright. And so I can't say that that's the tunnel of light, but I was breathing in light, sending out love. In other words, not for myself, breathing in light, sending out love, breathing in light, sending out love. And it kept on elevating my state up and up and up and up, that it almost in a weird way didn't matter that my heart wasn't able to pump any blood around. I wasn't going anywhere. At the same time, I was getting understandings of the universe that I'm still probably interpret, not the right word is interpret, breaking open to understand today, that were coming through as I was breathing in that light, sending out that love at a very, very high vibration.
From your standpoint, I love this. It's so different from so many others. I think every one of them is unique.
Yeah.
Wow. And I want to ask you something else as it like turn the page. Where do you think, do you think there's a shift going on the earth consciously?
I'm both excited and it's extremely harrowing. It's sort of like going through this experience with Rue. I know he's coming out the other side stronger, or the experience we've had with our miscarriages and everything. We know we would come through stronger, but in the moment, because humanity doesn't understand time, I can't pretend that I know it any better than anyone else. It feels so freaking real and raw and painful and scary. And you're going, people are doing what? They're saying what? And now what? But it's happening. If you can step back, it is such an accelerator right now. You go from your, what is it? Your Stone Age to your Bronze Age, or your Gold Age to your agricultural age, to your industrial age, to your information age. And all of a sudden, the ages are now in days or weeks rather than millennia. There is such an accelerator right now that you can't help but say something is coming, something is happening. And it is in the milieu, it's in the consciousness of people, meditation and vibration and energy and universe. There's a reason that everybody is starting to speak the same language, even if it appears that there's a greater polarity, a greater me versus you out there today than ever. To me, that's the last gasp of, we can call it the old guard, or we can say there is one human beingness on the planet. There's only one human. I'm a cell of it. You're a cell, Monica, Lee, you're a cell. Everybody listening, you're a cell. There's one human being, and it is the egoic mind of the being, the fear-based mind that wants to keep us under the table, wants to keep us small, and is creating all of this divisiveness right now to try to keep us in our status quo. But the ego never wins, and the heart always wins. We can have it the easy way or the hard way. That'll be determined which we get. In my case, it took several cosmic 2x4s the hard way
My goodness.
for me to
Yes.
Submit. I surrender. But I'm convinced we're going to make it through this. We're going to come out the other side. And as almost every great teacher is saying during this time, the job right now is not being out there. Not that there's anything wrong with doing the work on the outside. It is all about the inner work right now, because Monica, as you're saying, as Kryon is saying, we are each a tuning fork, and we are going to change the vibration of the planet like an electron state change and rise to the next level by working on our own frequency first and foremost, period.
Absolutely. So I would like you to tell us about automatic writing, because that is also a tool that we can use in this process.
So automatic writing in its simplest form is you go into a meditative or trance-like state. You don't have to be able to meditate. You put your pen to paper, you write out a few prayers. You can close your eyes or just about close your eyes, listen to some nice brain entrainment music, and you talk to spirit and you say, what's going on? And spirit talks back, and the pen moves almost without effort and says, hi, dear one. It's good to see you today. You are loved. You are doing fine. Breathe deep. Everything is all right. Here's what we want to share with you today. Yeah, spirit, but what about what's going on with Rue? It's going to be okay. Here's why this is taking place. Spirit, I just got a flat tire yesterday on the way back from the Rue visit. What happened there? Here's why that happened. Here's the synchronicity behind it. Here's what you get to know. Yeah, but spirit, my mind is going crazy during this time. It's okay. Here's what we want you to do. So you get guidance, you get direction, you get a GPS, you get high-level understandings, and you're no longer, this is the life of the mystic, you're no longer just living in this fear-based world. You now have instant communication with the other side. The cool thing in automatic writing is you don't have to be a writer. You don't have to know how to write. You don't have to practice journaling. You don't have to be a medium or psychic or anything. All you're doing is plugging into that energy that's already and always there. And anyone can do it. Everyone gets it over time, except for Rue, because he doesn't need to write and frankly doesn't have opposable thumbs, but he's already plugged in. The rest of us get it.
Absolutely. Rue doesn't need to get automatic writing because he is already at that tuning fork that you described earlier, where he just transmits energy. So I want to just let people know where they can go for connecting with you further. automaticwriting.com. I mentioned that before. That's where you can go for all of those awe experiences. And then there's also a website called inspirenationuniversity.com. And that is where you can go. And I believe that's where you can get the modern mystic school and things like that. So,
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's absolutely worth checking out.
What about your show? You've got all these shows happening. When's the next one?
Next show will be this coming Monday. We're doing primarily live shows right now every Monday evening on YouTube. Also, you can find the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, everywhere that you want to check it out. So YouTube show, live event every Monday night right now. Go to youtube.com, type in Inspire Nation Show, or youtube.com/Inspire Nation Show.
Inspire Nation Show is that exactly what we've just experienced with you. It's inspiring, it's uplifting, and what's amazing, Michael, is your joy factor through all of this. Fun. How important is joy for you?
It's everything. I mean, it's okay. So I've got a 12 or 13 week old upstairs, and I'm probably making way too much noise. Sorry. When she wakes up and she opens her eyes, I know, Rue. She opens her eyes. All of a sudden, she is got this beaming grin coming from the universe. It's not coming from us. She is the pure joy, that is the love, that is the light, that is the everything. It's our job, in whatever way it looks for to you. I'm a woohoo guy. You don't have to be that. Joy is whatever it looks like for you. But plugging into that energy, to me, is everything, because it shifts everything. I know, Rue. About 30 seconds here, good boy. He's ready to fly. He's so energized.
Well, we are also equally energized. Yeah. We have come to the end of this segment, but it has been so wonderful chatting with you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Lee. Keep on shining bright, and thank you for bringing your love and light to the world. I really mean that. Thank you.
Love you.
And right back at you. Woohoo! Woohoo! So we are now going to take a 10-minute break, and then we'll see you back here for the Circle of 12.
Welcome back from the break, everyone. Loved Michael. Thank you. Inspire Nation. Thank you.
I love his enthusiasm.
Well,
and
who wouldn't?
He's like infectious joy.
The woohoo thing is pretty good.
He has like a joy factor that
Yes.
is off the Richter scale.
It truly is. So I hope you liked that part of it. I did. I certainly did.
Absolutely. Michael was just such a treat to have on our program. So I know we said thank you to him, but thank you again.
Well, it took all 10 minutes to recover from the frivolity and the fun. No, and the wisdom. Thank you.
Absolutely. And in case you didn't notice, joy is healing.
Yes, absolutely
Yes.
healing. And that's what
Yes.
we've been teaching all along.
Absolutely.
Well, it's time again to do what we're calling Miracle Moments. And the program you are watching, of course, is about healing. And, we really want to honor all of those of you who need a healing right now in whatever form. So we're inviting you to participate in this week's Miracle Moments, where we all come together to help others and ourselves. I'd like to ask Monica to continue now to lead us in a profound time of thanks and meditation.
Our members have a place where they can submit prayer requests and have people come together to send them energy and love and benevolence. And we want to honor all of those who have made those specific requests, as well as honoring everyone on the planet who needs help in some form or fashion. We all can use a helpful hand and a hug, a smile, a wink, a moment of kindness. And so that's what we'd like to do in this space as we prepare for that circle of 12. And I invite you to close your eyes and place your attention, your awareness, your focus on what is happening internally for you right now in this moment. Are you able to find that place of peace, calmness, tranquility? A place filled with gentle love, support, wellness. All of those things exist within you. And if you can find that place within you, just feel, sense, or imagine it now radiating out from your body. And the more you can feel into that radiance, the brighter and more luminous it becomes. And so now I ask you to think about all those in this moment joining together that are radiating and can feel their luminosity expanding. And eventually all of that luminosity is going to continue until we start melding with each other's bubble of radiance. And as we continue feeling and sensing this melding of this luminous, radiant bubble of peace and joy, eventually this bubble becomes so big that it blankets the entire planet. And so just from this very visualization, this feeling, this sensation that we have with each other, we've automatically created a blanket around the earth so that everyone who needs our help on the planet is also being wrapped, surrounded, hugged by that blanket that we are existing in. All those who have submitted a prayer request, both past, present, and future, are being wrapped in this delicious blanket of love, joy, peace, benevolence, and compassion. And so I just remind you that you are included, because this is the oneness that Kryon speaks about. That what you do for each other, you do for yourself. And so with this energetic posture of peace and love, we can now tell Kryon, indeed, we are ready to come a little closer.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon. Come a little closer. Come a little closer to that big box that we talked about in the channeling earlier this evening. Dear ones, you live in a reality that is only partially observable to you. And we have said this before. So many times we hear you say to us, the reason that I don't believe in some of these things is because there's no evidence, because there's no science, because we don't see that which you talk about. And you're right, because you cannot see past the box you're in, things that exist outside of it. What if outside of all of that you think is real is another real? A reality that's so much larger than you think you're in that it fully has escaped you. Think of those on the planet who grew up for thousands of years and had all these things before any telescopes. All you had was the idea perhaps there was something bigger than you when you looked outside at night and you saw the lights in the skies. So interesting that the indigenous had put it together before telescopes. By the movement of the stars, they had an idea of the cosmos. Even that there perhaps was planetary movement before telescopes. It wasn't until then that you realized you are part of a cosmos which is absolutely enormous, you were never told about because you never knew it. But after the discovery, now it has changed the paradigm of everything, of how you look at everything, where you want to travel and what you want to do as a culture, as a planet. That's what I'm talking about. What if all of this has been hidden from you to such a degree that so many on this planet still think that there's only one tiny box? They're not even aware of the nesting of the boxes. And we speak now, of course, of the channel earlier. I'm going to do what I always do. I want to walk you through a scenario. And when I do it, I'm going to say to you, is it real? Is it not real? When we started these Healing Wednesdays, this was always the subject. A full explanation of what the bridge was, a request for you to visualize going across it into a different land. And the more we did it, the more we were onto perhaps a path that you were starting to understand. So we skipped a lot of that. And we went right to the bridge so often. But I want to again say it. These people, human beings, lovely human beings, who are interested enough in themselves to watch this and to listen to this, are beginning to know about the bigger box. But did I ever tell you what was really there? Why do you go there with me? What do you do when you're there past what I give you as a visualization or tell you what is happening? What else might be there? And the big question, do you ever do it on your own? I know that these particular episodes and these programs, these meditations that I give you on the Circle of 12 are exercises. They're exercises in awareness. Some still think they're exercises in imagination, not understanding at all that they're very real. The exercises in awareness The awareness that just perhaps everything that you are right now, where you sit, who you are, who you're with, what you do during the day, how you earn your living, how you work with your family, all the things that you love to do, all of that is in a teeny tiny box. And you call it your world. And now you're starting to see that that world of yours might include not only something much, much larger, but let's say the actionable item that you have is to go there and pick up things from the bigger you and bring them back across the bridge. Did you get that yet? I think most of you have. And the thing that this all has an energy of, which runs through all of these things, is the power of love. And it's the love of the Creator for you. We've said it so often, and there's been so many metaphors I've given to you that compares you with your children and how much you would love them. And we said to you, this is not that much different from the Creator and you, except that you're not the Creator's children. You are part of the Creator when you're not sitting in the chair where you are. That is a really tough call for so many human beings. You mean I'm actually part of God? Yes. Yes, you are. The bigger you is forever, always was, always will be. The spin-offs are the physical you, the temporary ones that you call human in your bodies right now, that come and go on this planet for universal reasons. But the real you is the one that, for all these episodes, we've been asking you to touch. So you would know there is something bigger, there is something more, there's something for you. I want you now to come with me across that bridge yet again as we set up another premise for the month. The bridge is a metaphor, of course, everything is, for your permission to cross from the known to the unknown and go to that bigger you. Go directly to the big box and see what is there. So many of you have done that every time. I want you to come with me, take my hand. Oh, as we cross this bridge yet again, go through the mist, go into that area of energy which is so sacred, which is the big you. It has your name all over it. It has your energy all over it. It ought to feel good. Everything is safe here. You can do anything. You can be anything. Everything here is the bigger you, and it's absolutely real, dear ones. How many of you feel that? That you can go inside to your soul. And for the moments in this multidimensional land, this world that you're in, if you wish, this is home. And you can feel safe. I said it twice. Because there are those who often never feel that way. Where everything is okay, truly. Where there is no death. And that everything you ever were part of remains here. And we have shown you that time after time. I want you to go through this doorway. It's a different doorway every time. This doorway is a different one from last month. Now it may look the same, but you're going to move through it like you move through a portal. There's only one doorway. It just goes to different places every single week. This goes to a very special room. It's different. It's different from any place you have ever been. It might be similar to the room you saw the Star Master in. This room is huge. It's enormous. It's beautiful. But you can't see the walls. What kind of a room could be beautiful without seeing the walls or what's on it? It's beautiful because it contains elegant energy of you. The room has one chair in the middle of it. It's enormous. You could think you're outside. Perhaps you could even see the stars if it were nighttime, but it's just that big. On purpose, the room is very, very large to contain you. And in a moment, you're going to get permission to sit in the chair, and in this chair, something is going to happen, and it's going to happen every single week. Let me tell you about it. The chair is called the Chair of Transformation. Now, what would call you to this chair to be transformed? Aren't you good enough here, you might say? What is to be transformed here? So let me start yet again and remind you that some time ago, we told you it was time to plant the seeds you came for, that you'd carried for lifetime after lifetime, the seeds that an old soul would have to put in the ground, to harvest, and that harvest would create a new human, new energy. These seeds would be various kinds of seeds, and we ask you to come to a room similar to this and pick up the jars of the seeds and take them back and plant them, and that's why you're here. That's all metaphoric for you being filled with the new energy of the planet that you are helping bring in, old soul. This is the time. We told you this. We revealed some very special seeds, and if you're not familiar with that, go back and listen and watch. But all of that leads us to other episodes in this place, this bigger you place that we're in. Because when you start to harvest the seeds, now come the rewards, if you wish to call them that. They're not really as much of rewards as they are tools that you must take or not in order to change the planet in the way that you know how you can do. Every week when you sit in the chair, you'll have a team come forward. And they'll be different every single time for their specialties. You'll know some of them, you may not know some of them. Some of them are always part of your guide set. Sometimes there will be many, sometimes there'll be a few, there might even be one. That's not the point. They're going to come and give you a gift. Sometimes all of them will come together as one and give you a gift. Sometimes they will come in sequence and give you many gifts. Let's see. Are you willing to sit in the chair to start this month's transformation? If you are, I invite you to say, inward, out loud, Dear Spirit, I give permission for this transformation today. Dear Spirit, I give permission for this transformation today. And there you stand. Is this real or not? Real or not? How many of you can feel this? To know something is coming. And if you spoke these words or thought these words with me, you just gave permission for it. Intent is incredible power. Intent given in love is even bigger. Sit in the chair. The chair sits there all by itself, alone, and immediately there'll be a line of entities. Each one holds a gift. You don't know how many there are because you can't see past 3 or 4 of them. I want you to notice they're neither female or male. They're just there. They may be in robes. They may look like guides or angels. They may be so majestic that you can't even make out what they're wearing. Some of them may even fade in and out, but they all have one thing in common. They know you, and they have been waiting for this moment for the harvest of the seeds. Just like every other time this month, they or others like them will give you gifts or a gift. Today, for you, each one of them, in their little package that they're going to give you, will give it to you, and it will absorb into you immediately, and then they will walk away. But if you could see their faces, they're shining in love and appreciation as they give you these gifts. Every single one is about health. Every one. That's how we're starting this. Every single one, there'll be one to strengthen your immune system. In fact, that's the first one. Are you ready? Here it comes. The gift is being given to you. And as you touch it, if you wish to take your hands and feel it, as you touch it, it goes inside you immediately. And the entity before you moves on, and here comes the next one. Given in love, each one of them has been waiting for this age, for this time. You know them all when you are here, but not when you're in the chair at home. That's why you can't really truly recognize them. The next one comes. It's the gift for you of stability in your system, stability in your emotions, stability in the way you see things, so you don't have to wonder anymore. It's a health attribute, dear ones. Here comes another one. For what is that which is bothering you at the moment as you sit here and you listen that you wish were more in your body? Here is one of the answers to strengthen that, not just your immune system, but to chase away all the other things that don't belong there. This is what you deserve. Dear ones, that's why you came. That's what this first harvest is. You have to be healthy for what you are about to do. Here comes another one and another one. We'll give you one last one before we close. This one is joy. What's joy got to do with my immune system and my health? Oh, haven't you heard us talk? This is one of the keys. The more you laugh, the more your chemistry changes, the healthier you become, the longer you live. Take the package and feel it surge through you, dear ones. Sit in that chair of transformation as they continue to come one at a time, giving you the gifts that you ask for. In this Healing Wednesday, the gifts that you always ask for, they're here. And when you leave from this place after a while, expect these to start growing like the seeds that you planted. And you'll start to feel the result of this night if you understand it's real. I am Kryon, in love with all of you. Stay here, stay in this chair of transformation and be transformed. And so it is.